everybody. So it's early in the morning and I have a lot of work to do in our garden to get it ready. So I'm going to show y'all around our garden. Okay, so it's blocked by weeds now, but the whole thing is trimmed in the cinder blocks right there, and it ends where you can see the cleared area and a little bit past it. My husband cleared this area last night, and I've been working on this area trying to get it finished, and I'm gonna have to wet it because our dirt is really dry, and this is the rest of the weeds that I have to clear. So wish me luck on that. Once we get it cleared, because it gets overtaken by weeds so fast, I'm going to try to just plant potatoes just so we can get something in it, and hopefully we won't get choked out by weeds again this year. Hey guys, thanks so much for being here today. If you hear beeping throughout this video, it is my blood sugar alarms. They are just telling me that my blood sugar is going low, like in the 60s and 50s and 40s. It is accurate at first, and I cut out the part where I go inside and get some juice to bring it up. But then later on, just because of so much muscle activity and the sensor being a little bit faulty, it does give me a false reading, and my blood sugars are actually fine. So you'll hear beeping throughout the whole video. So what I'm doing here is cutting the weeds out of the dirt with a hoe. And I didn't realize it, but the hoe needed to be sharpened. So that evening when my husband came home, he very kindly sharpened it for me. And it definitely made it a lot easier. Also, the dirt in my garden now is a good bit softer after I put in the soaker hose, which you'll see. And it definitely helps with getting more weeds out. I still haven't finished it, but I'm working on that this week. And you'll see that I did get a rake and raked all the loose weeds. And this is the beautiful sunrise. The gnats that morning were so awful. The heat wasn't too bad. It was extremely humid, of course, but that's to be expected. But when I ran inside to get my blood sugars up with a juice box, I had to grab a hair clip because my hair kept tickling my face along with the hundreds of gnats that were in my face, and it was just too much. So you'll see that I did that. Okay, so from about here to here in this square area and some patchiness through there is the work that I did. It took me over an hour to do that spot. I also had to take a break because my blood sugar was dipping. And I still have the rest of all that to clear, but I don't think I'm gonna get it done today. I need to go ahead and plant some potatoes in this area before we'd start coming back, and I'm probably gonna soak the area again and plant some of my potatoes. I'm just planting from scraps, and I'll show y'all how I'm gonna do that. So these are actually the potatoes I harvested last year. I'm just gonna replant most of them. I know it's not that many. We grew them in buckets last year and it just didn't work well for us. And then this is, look at the eye on that potato, how crazy that is. And then I'm gonna try to install this soaker hose. about to turn the soaker hose on, but I drug it through that part because there's a spigot there. Drug it through that part, and the sun is really peeking through now, guys. It is getting hot. Also, I feel like I have a spider in my boot or something biting me. So I have it going through there because I need to soften up the dirt over there so the weeds will come out easier anyway when I'm ready to do that. I planted the potatoes from probably about here to here in the clear space, just super scattered about, because I need to get more potatoes to plant. And then this is not exactly how I really want this. This is okay for now because it laid out straight for me, but it's longer than I needed it to be. So when I turned it, you know, the end is going to be a little bit curly. Hopefully I can dig like a small trench sometime after the dirt gets softened and put it in there, but I'm about to turn it on. Alright, y'all, so it is misting all through there. It looks so pretty. You can't actually see the mist good through here. You might be able to there, but whenever it lays on its side, of course it shoots this way. I don't know if I can get y'all to see it. Kinda, but hopefully our dirt will get nice and wet now and keep things alive in the garden this year. That was a big problem that we had. Here, let me turn the camera around. A big problem, I have dirt on my face. A big problem that we had last year in the garden is that the garden is so large and deep, and there's nothing keeping it from the ground. There's no tarp or anything down there. I didn't really want any plastic if I didn't have to. It just got too dry. The sun comes out here and there's very little shade whenever it comes out. This morning's actually not too bad. It's almost 9 o'clock right now. And the only thing that's been bothering me is the gnats. The heat honestly isn't that bad. The humidity still sucks, but it is what it is. Some of the rest of the potatoes I need to throw away, the ones that were in the bag, because they're just potatoes from the grocery store. I planted most of the ones that had eyes on them, some of them that didn't, but some of them are just rotten, so I'm gonna go chuck those in the woods and then finish some stuff up in the house. I have to make, what is it that I have to make? I have to make some flatbread or some naan bread. I've been making that with my sourdough discard, and we've really been enjoying it. We just ran out this morning, so I'm gonna do that, and I also have to fix myself some breakfast. I feel like y'all don't have a good view of what I'm doing in the kitchen, but at the same time, I don't really know how to fix it either. Like, that's almost it. But my thing like pops down. You know? I think this could work. So, what am I doing? Skillet, cast iron skillet's still out. We're gonna use that. This is kind of the state of my kitchen right now because it's still morning, and I typically clean my kitchen in the morning. Sometimes I clean it before I go to bed. It just honestly depends. In the evening time, that's my time to spend time with my husband and relax. So I am off duty, so to speak, most of the time in the evening, unless there's just something that really needs to get done. So I will clean the kitchen today, but for right now, we are going to be making some flatbread or some naan bread. So I'm gonna go get my recipe binder and I'll be back. So our recipe is sourdough discard flatbread, and I'll try to remember to link it down in the description. It's really easy to throw together. It does require some time though, but it's passive time. You're not actively doing anything. You have to mix the ingredients together and then let it sit for 30 minutes, I believe. This is my sourdough starter. Of course, I haven't fed her yet because this is discard bread. So she's looking kind of dry, but that's okay. I'm gonna get my mixing bowl. I would say that if you are new to sourdough discard recipes and just sourdough discard and sourdough starter in general, this is a great recipe to try because it's very simple. You'll know whenever there's something off in the dough and something's wrong with it, so it's really simple and I like it. So we're gonna need a cup of discard. Last time I made this recipe, I didn't actually measure out a cup of discard. I guesstimated. And I like to leave my fork in there so that I can use it to stir it later when I feed it. And y'all, I know this is gross, but like this jar has like crevices on it, so every time it drips off, kind of like whenever you're pouring honey out of a jar, I try to like catch it so that it doesn't dry on the side of the jar, and then I just rinse my hands off. I'm gonna need 2 cups flour. Here's the beautiful discard. So 1 cup, thereabouts, and then 2 cups. Sounds great. All right. A teaspoon of salt. This is kosher. I add what I have and what I want. Honestly, I probably have like 4 or 5 different varieties of salt in little things around my house, but don't forget to add salt to this. It's very important. Otherwise, you might be pretty disappointed. Teaspoon baking powder. Oh, and this recipe makes 6. So, I like that. It's a good number for us because William wanted to start using these for his lunches and breakfast, and I'll probably use them for that as well. So it's a good number because this recipe is so easy to throw together that I can, that 6 is enough to where we go through them in a couple of days so they're still fresh, and then I can just make them again. Because I think I mentioned in another video when I was baking bread that I love the process of making bread, but it is very labor intensive for it to not keep well if you're not consuming it. Like, we've tried freezing it, we've tried keeping it in the refrigerator, sliced, unsliced, it just doesn't seem to matter. Of course, if you're toasting it, it matters a little bit less, but unfortunately it still matters. I need a half a cup of milk, a tablespoon of olive oil. I'm sure that you could use another kind of oil. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and feed my sourdough starter. So this is what it looks like after I took the discard out and I stirred it up a little bit. It's just in a ball jar that I got from Ollie's. It comes with a lid, but my starter does better whenever it has ventilation, so I keep like a bonnet thing on it so it has airflow. So I've got unbleached all-purpose flour here, and I've got a cup measuring scoop. This starter is pretty thick, and so I'm gonna try to thin it out this time. But I do about equal parts flour, sometimes more if I want to feed it extra, and then add in some water. Now, some people do better with like a more scientific method for feeding theirs. This works for me just fine. And honestly, I think I prefer that because I prefer for it to not run my life. I don't want to be like, oh my gosh, I didn't feed it today. or I fed it such and such a way, and now it's gonna die, it's ruined. I feel like this is great because it benefits me. Making it this way is easy enough, carefree enough, but yet I still do have to care for it so that it'll help me make good bread. Mixed in, and then over the next couple hours it'll get kind of bubbly and rise. Okay, and she already has bubbles. My starter is like 3 months old. I don't think I can show you the bubbles without turning it over, but she has some little bubbles on top. Let's go ahead and get this mixed up. It is nice and beautiful. After we mix this, we're supposed to knead it for a few minutes until it gets smooth and it's no longer sticky. I need to wrap this up in plastic wrap and then let it rest for 30 minutes at room temperature, and then we'll come back. We'll divide it into 6 pieces, roll them out with a rolling pin, and then fry them up in a skillet with some olive oil. While I was waiting on the flatbread dough to rest, I just threw in a load of laundry. I had a lot of laundry to get done this week, and I actually got a lot accomplished on this day. You don't get to see it, but I made some iced tea. I helped my parents with their chickens, and I'll show you that at the very end. And I got almost all my loads of laundry done that day, and some other things, so it was a really productive day. Should be good. And then I'm gonna go ahead and let it heat up. These flatbreads were super easy to make, and they're so tasty and soft. You could basically use these as tortillas if you wanted to. They are a little bit thicker, but they stay pretty soft and flexible. Me and my husband were talking about cinnamon raisin bread that night, and I kept telling him how I kept forgetting to make some because I'm really just the only one who wants it. He's not requesting it or anything, although he would eat it. Well, he suggested, since the flatbreads prepare so quickly, that I should make cinnamon raisin flatbread. I don't know what y'all think. So these are my parents' chickens, and I gathered their eggs. That's everything, guys. Thank y'all so much for watching. Bye.